Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of the trailer for Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. This is going to be a multi-part space epic. First part coming to Netflix December 22nd. Zack Snyder has said Rebel Moon is influenced by Seven Samurai, Star Wars, and 1981's adult animated sci-fi film Heavy Metal. So there is a lot going on here. Let's break down this trailer for all the details you might have missed and why you should be really pumped for this movie. Let's get started. Okay, the trailer opens on the Netflix logo, of course, which changes from this burnished bronze color, like the color of a warrior's helmet, to its usual red. A hand brushes over wheat in a field in a move reminiscent of Gladiator, but this hand belongs to Jimmy, a robot, also known as JC-1435, voiced by Anthony Hopkins and played physically by Dustin Scythehammer. Jimmy was created centuries ago to defend the King of the Galactic Empire, but has since been repurposed by the evil Imperium and brought to the peaceful farming satellite moon of Velt. This movie centers around the fact that the Imperium, which is the army of the corrupt government, the Mother World, shows up on Velt demanding harvests from the locals, and the locals hire a ragtag group of warriors to fight back. Hence the Seven Samurai inspiration. And yes, if this sounds like Pixar's A Bug's Life, Pixar's A Bug's Life is also Seven Samurai. We cut to a shot of Jimmy looking very hella for Marvel-like in this helmet with horns on it. Okay, on to the next clip.
Do you know the story of the Princess Issa? In myth, she was called the Redeemer.
Okay, we see a young Kora here, played by Elizabeth Martinez, followed by a bunch of ships surrounding a planet. If you think this is the Rebel Moon, it's not. We're not even going to see the titular Rebel Moon in this movie, but more on that after the next section.
It was said this child would stop the madness of war, that she was to usher in a new age of peace and compassion. I was given memories of a world I will never see.
Okay, General Titus, played by Djimon Hounsou, is on his knees looking out at the aftermath of a battle. Fun fact, Anthony Hopkins actually played Titus Andronicus in 1999's Titus, obviously based on the Shakespeare play, which dealt with Andronicus's violent deeds and downfall after coming home from battle. We cut to a group of men kneeling with hoods over their heads that have an eye with a teardrop design on them. Looks like there's some interesting mythological iconography that will be explored in this new storyverse. The Imperium are showing their power as a ship blows up a huge statue, shattering the piece that Jimmy was just talking about. Okay, next clip.
Loyalty to a king I cannot serve, and love for a child I could not save.
Okay, two people dressed in all black stand at a funeral with a big white griffin behind them. A dead king dressed in all white and clutching a scepter is carried by pallbearers, and we cut to Nemesis, played by Doona, holding a dead child by a burning village. We get some sort of spaceport with these people standing there, including this row of individuals on the lower left who hold these lights. This could be the Scribes, a group of masked priests from the Mother World who can implant memories into people and rewrite history that way. All right, next clip.
What do you think they want?
Everything.
I found a Scar Giver.
I am a child of war.
All right, we see adult Kora, played by Sofia Boutella, frantically hitting a bell with a hammer. Now, if you watch Star Wars Andor, this is something they did get messages or warnings out to the townsfolk, so Kora is likely warning the people of Velt that Mother World ships are coming. We get this exchange.
What do you think they want?
And I'm sorry to be so grounded in the MCU, but this does remind me of Thanos when he's in the Soul Realm talking to young Gamora, and she asks, what did it cost you? And he goes, everything. Okay, we see Admiral Atticus Noble, leader of the Imperium Army. He's played by Skrein, who was the original Daario Naharis in Game of Thrones. He was actually replaced in that role by Michiel, Huisman, who also shows up in Rebel Moon playing the character Gunner. Noble says that he found her, the Scar Giver. And we get these awesome scenes of Kora kicking ass in what looks like a pub. We also see young Kora again in the middle of a burning city ravaged by war, as a Mother World tank fires a missile. Okay, next clip.
I was taught that love is weakness. There's between justice and revenge.
We see more of Kora's past, serving in the Imperium. She kisses a fellow soldier who later dies in the snowy battle. It's clear that she was a top soldier as she stands on a battle-beaten building, planting a flag that's blowing in the wind. And I don't know if it's just the color scheme or the dramatic imagery, but I'm getting some Starship Troopers vibes here. And by Starship Troopers, I mean fascist. Then we meet the Armada, an alien spider warrior played by Snyder mainstay Jena Malone. The character is very reminiscent of the Stalk from the Saga comic series. She looks like she's holding a child as she talks to nemesis, who then busts out these two red, well, what can only be described as laser swords. Let's call them laser swords. And we should point out here that Zack Snyder originally intended Rebel Moon to be a Star Wars movie. He pitched this project during the Disney acquisition of Lucasfilm in 2012, but the project was scrapped. This is all while Snyder was in post-production for Man of Steel. Snyder never intended to use any of the known characters from the Star Wars franchise. He wanted to tell a story set in the Star Wars universe, off to the side of the main plot lines we all know, but with more of an adult tone to it. That explains why this film has a lot of Star Wars pastiche throughout it, and this not quite lightsaber, but laser sword is one of them. Do you need energy? Do you need it now? That's a job for One Shot. One Shot Energy Chews are a healthy and convenient energy boosting supplement candy for gamers, athletes, YouTube hosts, everybody really. One Shot makes energy chews and focus chews so that you can choose if you want to rev up or zone in. Each energy chew has 75 milligrams of pure caffeine plus 600 milligrams of additional nootropics that give you a serious energy boost that works immediately as you chew. The focus chews come in new Rockstars themed packaging. We use them all the time to get a natural boost of focus and energy with B, C, D, and E vitamins plus zinc to help with immune system support and the amino acid tyrosine. Both energy chews and focus chews are plant-based, naturally sweetened, and designed to give you the energy and focus you need without a bunch of fillers and chemicals. Get started with One Shot Energy today by going to oneshotenergy.com/newrockstars for 10% off your order. All right, next clip. Okay, we cut to a cloaked Kai drawing a gun. Kai is part of the resistance team and is played by Sons of Anarchy's Charlie Hunnam. Next, we get a character in a cape landing on the ground in that classic Zack Snyder superhero landing pose. Then there's this figure in the foreground who looks like he's wearing a pork pie hat like Heisenberg in Breaking Bad, so maybe the explosions down below were caused by a meth lab blowing up. Next part.
Shh, one moment. I do love this part.
I don't want no trouble.
We're not here to bring any.
Okay, Noble's boss, Regent Belisarius, played by Frafi. You remember him, Kazi from Hawkeye. Maybe you don't, because they really effed up that character. He stands in front of this large circular window, and he shushes people, asking for a moment before the crown is placed on his head, and he proclaims that he does love this part. And yeah, this totally reminds me of Joaquin Phoenix as Commodus from Gladiator. This guy is a piece of shit. Then we get Ray Porter, acclaimed voice actor who voiced Darkseid in Snyder's Justice League, saying, "I don't want no trouble," followed by ships blowing up, and Kora with Kai saying, "We're not here to bring any." You can see a black griffin in the background unfurling its wings, a nice contrast with the white one we saw earlier. Next clip.
Are you ready?
You and I boast no fear. Let's show them that we're not afraid.
Okay, there's more of Nemesis with her dual blades, and then Tarak Staz Nair, another Game of Thrones actor, asking, "Are you ready?" before the camera cuts to this four-armed beast being cheered on in a coliseum. We see Kora bathed in red light before cutting to a group of people with what looks like proton packs on their back, but are probably some sort of farming equipment as an explosion causes them to duck and cover. Then the hero shot of Resistance fighter Darrington Bloodaxe, played by Ray Fisher. Next clip.
Let's show them we are more than the shackles that bind us.
We get another look up at that black griffin from earlier, rearing up on its hind legs as Tarak kneels in front of it in what looks like an act of deference and respect. Very Harry Potter with the hippogriff, if you ask me. Tarak then pets its head, and we see him doing a slow motion jump onto its back from a cliff in a move that looks like it's straight out of 300. In fact, one of the writers on this film, Kurt Johnstead, wrote 300 in its sequel, 300 Rise of an Empire. Then we cut to this awesome looking alien who kind of resembles a catfish. Just incredible effects and design in this movie. It has a symbol on its forehead that might denote belonging to some sort of religious or mystical order. Again, folks, this is all new IP. It's not based on anything. I can't tell you what the stuff is. We are diving in an entirely new universe with iconography and symbols that we're gonna be figuring out as we go. All right, next clip.
A king is a man, and a man can fail. But a myth is indestructible.
So Kora, in her Mother World military uniform, kneels in some sort of church with a stained glass window depicting what looks like a griffin. There are two men in the room with her, one standing, one sitting on a throne with his head in his hands, looking defeated. A crown clatters to the ground, just as Anthony Hopkins says, "Man can fall." Then there's a young girl in the snow, dressed in all white, holding a bird. This looks like Princess Issa, who was mentioned earlier, played by Stella Grace Fitzgerald. In this whole scene, giving us some Narnia vibes. The bird flies away and it transitions to Kora looking up at the sky and reaching for the griffin flying overhead. All right, on to the last clip.
The time has come for all that you love to protect each other and show them no mercy.
Who among you is willing to die for what you believe.
Alright, there's a group of Motherworld soldiers engaged in battle looking decidedly stormtroopery. Titus gives a rousing speech over scenes of happiness, reminding people why they are fighting. There's an explosion in the Colosseum, and a spaceport battle, and then Kora and Noble fight with these blue energy blades. And the final shot is of Kora and the rebels walking toward the Colosseum, which is taken directly from concept art that Snyder had previously shared. And then we cut to the Rebel Moon title card. Part 1 coming December 22nd, 2023, and then Part 2 coming April 19th, 2024. They filmed Part 2 immediately after filming Part 1. Both of these films will also get an extended R-rated release at some point. And yeah, this movie does look like something we need to see on a big screen. Now, back in April, Debbie Snyder, the producer and Zack Snyder's wife, confirmed that a Part 3 is on the way too. And in Part 3, we will finally see the actual Rebel Moon. Zack Snyder told Empire there's a planet named Vanna, and Vanna is the Rebel Moon. It's not even in one shot of this movie. And if you want even more of the Rebel Moon cinematic universe, Snyder has teased that a TV show could be in the works that dives into Balisarius' backstory, as well as a video game. He told the Nerd Girls podcast that he was in talks to develop an RPG for this IP. Snyder even has a 450-page Rebel Moon Bible that goes into the history and the lore of the Mother World. Let me know in the comments below what you're most excited for about this movie. It might be the coolest thing to come out in December of this year. Please subscribe to all 3 of our channels in the New Rockstars network, the main New Rockstars channel, the Break Room, and the Deep Dive. You can support us by grabbing some merch at nerdriot.shop, like this Ahsoka inspired shirt. Follow me at EA Voss, follow New Rockstars, and subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.